Unscripted, unfiltered, unafraid. Welcome to the Macworld podcast. My name is Michael Simon, and I am joined by my colleague Jason Cross.
Good morning.
And our producer, Roman Loyola.
Ahoy there.
I like to say your name a little different each time, Roman. In case you didn't catch that.
Loyola.
I'm waiting for you to. I've been called Roman Crayola before.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's a good
I'm sure you loved that growing up.
Yeah, schoolyard nickname.
Laloya. I once got, when I worked at Mac User, I got, we used to get mail. If people don't know, you get paper.
Like actual letters, yeah.
Real
actual
paper.
letters. And somebody addressed it as Rugen Lutula.
Wow.
Totally butchered my name. And
That's a good one.
Yeah, and so one of the editors would call me Rugen all the time. So.
Back in the days when you used to get mail, back in the physical magazine and mail days, did you get a lot of mail from inmates?
Yes.
That was a thing.
It was a thing. Yes.
That was because back when I worked at a magazine, that computer games magazine, like way back year 2000 time. And yeah, we used to get physical mail and a lot of them from inmates. Because I think back then, most prisons didn't have like email access and stuff. And they had libraries just full of magazines and books and stuff. So they'd read about stuff that they could not access. And then they'd write us about it.
Well, if you are listening to this from prison, send us a message because I'd love to know what our listenership is in the prisons around the U.S. Anyway, this is episode number 975, and today we're going to catch up on all the products that we didn't get to last week because we basically devoted the whole show to the MacBook Neo, and which feels like that thing came out like months ago, and it's been like 2 weeks. But it's been such a whirlwind month for Apple. Like that feels like it was forever ago.
To me, it feels like it's still not out. Like it feels like it's on pre-order and people don't have them yet.
Yeah, I've seen like a bunch of people
have
there.
them.
Yeah, and they're all back ordered and hard to get. The Citrus is the hardest one and stuff. But and I've seen like social media posts, but it feels like the MacBook, not that it's old news, but that it's like been out for so long. But anyway, so we're going to talk about the Air, the Pro, the displays, and we'll get into all that stuff. We'll have a couple segments, what we're watching, Apple history this week in Apple history, and we will close with our comment corner. Speaking of comments. You can contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, search for Macworld, look for the Blue Mouse logo. Send us an email at podcast@macworld.com. Send an email to one of us, comment under a video, comment under a post, send us a letter from prison. I don't even know if we have an address anymore, but we probably do. Roman will put it in the show notes if we do. But get in touch with us and we will talk about it in a future episode. Okay, before the review stuff, let's talk about Apple's 50th anniversary, which isn't until April 1st. And, everybody knows, like, it's not a secret. And Apple's kind of, like, there's been, like Tim Cook has talked to, like, employees and been like, yeah, we're going to make sure that it's a thing. But, like, it's really a thing. Like, last week, Tim Cook posted a letter called 50 Years of Thinking Different, which, as Jason points out, should be differently. But that's not how Apple does it.
It just doesn't sound good to say think differently.
Yeah, right. It's not as cool of a slogan. But it was, like a whimsical kind of, Apple's great and the products are great and the people that use them are great and we love you and you love us. And, it's he closes by quoting The Crazy Ones, which was the poem that Steve Jobs didn't write that, right? Does anyone know the history of that?
They just used that in the original Think Different ad campaign.
Right.
I think it was written by Chiat Day, the advertising
the ad campaign people. Yeah. It was a nice letter. And we were all kind of wondering, like, it was on, I think, Thursday, about 2 weeks or a little over 2 weeks, or 3 weeks actually, before Apple's anniversary. It was interesting. And then on Friday, they shut down the Grand Central Station Apple Store in New York City. And Alicia Keys did like a little concert, and Tim Cook was there, and John Turnus was there, and so they're really going all out with this thing. They posted a bunch of pictures to their website, and they said they're going to have like global happenings, they call them, to kind of celebrate Apple. So it's a fun time. 50 years is is impressive, and it kind of matches up with Macworld, even though we didn't start in 1976, but we started in '84 covering Apple, so we've been there for a lot of it. Yeah, with the Mac. Yeah.
The Tim Cook is doing his interview rounds. He was on Good Morning America and stuff, and of course, everyone's asking him the same stuff, and he's giving the same kind of non-answers to
the non-answers.
You know, are you retiring? And what about tariffs? And what about AI and stuff like that?
Right.
You're going to see a lot more of that because he's going to do more interview rounds, and they're all going to ask him the same thing, and he's going to have the same answers. Yeah, don't expect any big news to drop in any of these interviews with Tim Cook.
Yeah, I mean, Apple people, particularly the high-level people, are really skilled at giving these interviews where it feels like they're giving you a ton of information and they're really not. Like, they're all great at that. But this kind of feels like it could be a little bit of a Tim Cook retirement tour. Like, there's a bunch of stuff released. The MacBook Neo is obviously a defining product. Whether it's a success or not, and I think it will be, but it's a monumental product that's under Tim Cook's watch. It feels like a final thing. And the 50th stuff, and he went to New York for this thing. He was at not he, but Turner's was at the thing in New York a couple weeks ago, and gave the intro, which was not quite passing the torch, but it was a very public appearance for John Turner's, which he doesn't really do those things. Mm-hmm. So it kind of feels like maybe he's being groomed to take over, and Tim Cook is, having his last little, his last big kind of whirlwind tour. He'll come out with the iPhone Fold at the end of the year, and then maybe that'll be it. Yeah, I think
the good sprint across the finish line for Tim Cook would be, fix Siri and iPhone Fold and explode the Mac market. By a year from now, with when he would retire, you'd be able to say, MacBook Neo has, made so many more Mac users, this many million more Mac users and stuff. So I think that would be that'd be a good way to end it. So far, the whole fixing Siri thing isn't going as planned. Right. So that's a big part of it. But, yeah, I think that's buttoning that stuff up. That'd be a good place to hand it off.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll have plenty of shows devoted to Tim Cook before his tenure's over. But, it's ridiculously successful. He might not be as iconic as Steve Jobs, but he has done a ridiculously good job running this company for the last, it's been about 10 years now. So, but yeah, it's fun to be a part of this. We'll see what Apple has in store for the next couple of weeks. Will there be an event? So April 1st is a Wednesday.
Like an event, not one of these many musical concerts around the world, but
So we'll see. Also quick, just to catch up on news, Apple released, very surprisingly on Monday, the AirPods Max 2, which is basically the same as the old one, but has an H2 chip in it now. And those are, we were just talking about this before the show started, those are starting to ship at some point in early April. Like, they didn't give us a ship date. So that could indicate that maybe they're planning some stuff in early April, so we'll see.
I think what happens is, you can pre-order them next Wednesday, which is like the 25th.
Yeah, this is now the fourth or fifth product that had a preview. I had a pre-order on a Wednesday, which is rare.
Yeah, and but not even the Wednesday the week they announced it. It's the next Wednesday. Right. I think they said it's coming early April because it probably will require iOS 20, all the OS 26.4 updates and some firmware update that goes with it, and for the AirPods, some day one firmware or whatever. And they don't have a date nailed down yet for that.
Maybe not.
So that would be my guess. So
they did, one of the support pages footnotes, it did mention iOS, macOS, whatever, OS 26.4. So Jason's right about that. And yeah, maybe it's that. It could be just something as simple as that. But we like to look into the tea leaves and try to guess. We had about 7 different dates that the MacBook Pro M5 Pro Max versions were coming, that we're certain that we were right, and they
Yeah.
weren't.
I love that we got a surprise release, man. We never know. We always know ahead of time, even if it's like a week ahead of time. And this was something that there were rumors about this for a while, and then they ended, and then it's like, no, they're working on something else, and that just kind of went away. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, surprise! These are up on the site. Go pre-order. Actually, not pre-order, but like news. Pre-order coming soon.
Why didn't they release these a week and a half ago with everything else?
Right.
Like why?
Or
did they
last
get their own
holiday
day?
or whatever. I don't know.
Right. Or whenever.
you know?
Right. Because they obviously didn't take much to make them. It's just a different chip. All of the things that are new are related to the H2 chip.
Yeah. There's no new mics, speakers. The casing's the same. The weight's the same. The connection's the same. Colors. Yeah.
So anyway, we'll be getting our hands on those and eventually. The same price. They're, still very expensive, but they're iconic and they're cool and people like them. And, now they have the better chip, which is mainly for like future proofing. It brings like live translation and voice isolation and stuff like that. But the big thing is that they'll be getting updates now alongside the AirPods Pro 3 for a while. So,
right.
Okay. I guess we should start. I'm going to start with you, Roman. So the MacBook Pro, we've been waiting for a while for the M5 Pro and M5 Max versions of the MacBook Pro. It came out, the M5 came out last October, and it was good. Chip was good. The graphics were especially good. The SSD had a nice boost. And so now we got the higher end versions of those. Roman, give me your Reader's Digest opinion of
the TLDR version.
Yeah, there you go.
So I tested the M5 Max MacBook Pro, and it was a super loaded machine. It had 4 terabyte SSD. It had 128 gigabytes of RAM. It had the maxed out 40 core GPU.
Yep.
Right.
So it was it's the high end machine. I forget how much it costs. It's a lot of money. So I get very self conscious when I carry it around. But but yeah, I mean, overall the CPU, it's an incremental update. That's the pattern we're on now with CPUs. It's 15 to 20, 25% maybe in certain benchmarks. Increase from generation to generation. That's what we're going to see, I think, for a while at least, until some new technological breakthrough happens. That's not bad.
Right. We don't actually need much more than that year over year. Yeah.
The CPU is not the thing. It's the GPU that's, I think now has become kind of the thing. And, the GPU was, provided a nice boost. Now I forget actually how much it was.
Wait, I have it up. I can tell you what number do you want?
I just wanted to know what was the overall. We'll go Geekbench Compute, even though that's not necessarily graphics. It's more of a overall GPU parallel processing benchmark. There was an improvement of that. I wish I was more prepared. Why wasn't I more prepared to do this?
Well, I did go to you earlier than I was going to do.
I think overall it's like 30%, which is kind of what you see year from year, Now
I remember the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make was the M3 Ultra used to be the fastest CPU chip.
Right.
It's not anymore. It is now the M4 Max.
M5 Max.
Or M5 Max. I'm going to do that a lot. So just to warn people, I'm going to do that a lot. The M5 Max is now the fastest CPU in terms of, all the chips that they've ever created. But the M3 Ultra is still the fastest GPU, but it's like an 80 core GPU.
Right. And they're
60, just to
clarify, it's 2 M3
for,
Maxes stuck together.
Yeah.
For listeners who don't keep up with all of these chips, there is no M4 Ultra. Apple did not release one.
Right.
We are expecting an M5 Ultra at some point. People are saying maybe this summer, and that'll be like a Mac Studio update kind of thing. And they're supposed to be using them in servers.
The M5 Max beats the M3 Ultra multi-core CPU score, not by a lot, but by a measurable amount.
Yeah,
which is impressive for a laptop. Because the M3 Ultra is in the Mac Studio, which is different cooling and all that stuff.
And it's 2 chips stuck together with their own RAM pool of RAM and RAM bus and stuff like that, and they do tunneling and all. It's like crazy.
Right.
So I can't wait for them to do that with the M5.
Yeah,
like the M5, 2 M5 Maxes, next to each other with their own memory interface and everything. That's going to be a very fast chip. It's going to be stupid expensive, but
well, I mean,
it'll be fun to see.
The Mac Studio, the M3 Ultra Mac Studio costs $4,000. Is that right, Jason? They start at $4,000.
The Ultra, I don't remember,
because I think the Max starts at $2,000, and I think it doubles for the Ultra, which is it's a lot, but it's not
the Max. Yeah, it starts at $4,000.
So if that's the same
that's with a cut back version of the chip
of the Ultra
with the full chip of the Ultra chip. That's with the 28 core and 60 core to get the full 32 CPU cores, 80 GPU cores to get full size chips is another $1,500.
Okay.
So, to actually get the full chips is $5,500. So that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And the prices will probably stay the same. They've been staying the same.
Yeah.
Just to correct myself, so the M3 Ultra has a 60-core GPU. What I was thinking is that I think the projection is the M5 Ultra would have an 80-core
40 and 40, yep.
GPU. So see, I'm stickler. I'm trying to be a stickler on this because I got hammered on it when I was on the Full Nerd.
Starts the M5 Ultra, the M3 Ultra starts with a 60-core GPU. The full size chip is an 80-core.
Right.
The M3.
The full size chip is 32 CPU cores and 80 GPU cores.
So it's kind of correct.
So the M5 Ultra, I don't know, but it'll be 80. Will it be more than that? What's an M Max have? 40?
Oh, the GPU is 40. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll probably still be 80 then, because the way they do the Ultras, it's 2 Max chips connected together.
This these numbers make my head spin. Like whenever I edit Roman's and Jason's reviews, it's so hard to keep this stuff it's like mind-boggling, these numbers. And
counting cores is so not useful, not like a useful and productive way to measure performance. It's so
right. So the bottom line is the M5 Max is very fast. But so my question for you, Roman, aside from all that, there's a new MacBook Neo at the very, very low end. When you were testing the M5 Max MacBook Pro, does it change does the existence of that machine kind of change your approach to the higher end? And Jason, I'll ask you a similar question because it matters more for the Air, obviously. But now that there's a $599 Mac, what does that mean for the MacBook Pro?
So I think this is basically the approach that Apple has done with the iPhones, whereas Pro has become a lot more specialized, a little more higher end, because they've opened up the lower end a little bit, with the Neo.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah. Trying to think of a better analogy, like lowering the bar and hiring the bar in one end and lowering the bar in another. So I think that's what it is that the Pro, especially the Max models, are more specialized. They're definitely Pro machines.
Yeah.
But, they're for people who are in industries that demand this, not necessarily someone like me. A Max is overkill.
Yeah.
Maybe even a M5 Pro is overkill. I'm fine with an M5. I've been using the Neo for the past week. I've been happy with it.
Yeah.
So
it's somewhat.
I think that's what it does.
it's somewhat humbling when you realize how like basic your computing needs are.
Yeah.
When you write for a living, that's
Right.
that's like the easiest thing for a computer to do.
Right.
So like the hardest thing ours do is maybe some light video, some light photo editing. Every now and then running something like lightweight video editing, like CapCut. I know Roman used Premiere for the podcast stuff, but they're simple edits. You're not editing high res 4K, loading up some LUTs, doing all that, going crazy, right?
Plugins or anything like that. I'm not doing anything. It's all pretty basic. So,
like we like to think, or at least I do. Like I have an M3 Max. I bought an M3 Max because I thought I needed it, and I don't think I do at all.
Well, there is the thing of future proofing.
Yeah,
so
right.
you bought that M3 Max, and you can probably use it for the next 7, 8, 9
I'm not
years,
getting rid of it anytime soon. And I got a deal on it, if you will, through Amazon. And Apple matched it, and it was the whole thing. But still, I probably could have gotten away with at the time an Air for, I don't know, whatever it was, $800 less, whatever I paid for it. So, I think that what the MacBook Neo is going to do, and by the time you listen to this, there will be an article on our site that Roman just alluded to, that he tested, treated the MacBook Neo in a way that you probably won't need to see how it performs. And I'm not going to spoil it, but go read that because it's good. And I think what the MacBook Neo is going to do, I think there are a lot of people, and I include myself amongst that crowd, that gravitate to the MacBook Pro but don't actually need it. And I think the Neo is going to kind of shed a little bit of light on like what people need a Mac for. And yes, it will open up the Mac world to a whole new group of people, but I also wonder if it's also going to pull people down to that level because it's the cool new thing.
There's been a lot of talk about how like the Neo is going to cannibalize sales of the Air and like the iPad Air or iPad Pro. And certainly compared to an iPad Pro, once you get a keyboard and stuff like that, I realize they're not the same. There's no touch, there's no pencil, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you're thinking like iPad Pro is my computer, like this is really compelling. It's a lot cheaper.
Yep.
It's cheaper than an iPad Air with all the accoutrements you need, the keyboard and all that stuff. And you'll probably like it better because Mac OS is made for keyboards and mice.
Right.
And it's true. I think the sales of the Neo will cannibalize some of the low end sales from that, but the majority of the sales are going to be people who were priced out of, especially globally, are going to be people who were priced out of Apple laptops before and now aren't. Especially once they're on sale and student discounts and stuff like that, you're going to see a whole bunch of these getting sold in like around the world. You're going to see so many of these in emerging markets and stuff like that. But I was thinking about this. What does the Neo have to offer people who already are in the Apple ecosystem, who already have a Mac, who aren't needing to buy something less expensive? And I think, to me, what's kind of going to be exciting to watch with the Neo trend is Apple sells, they don't give the numbers, but people do their analysis, and the best ones I could find say Apple sells between 230 and 250 million iPhones a year.
Yep.
250 million iPhones a year.
That's an
right?
insane amount of phones.
And they sell around, and it's been pretty steady, around 23 million Macs. The vast majority of those are MacBooks, right?
Yeah.
And that's just like it's 10-to-1 ratio.
Right.
If it's very, very possible that Apple will more than double their share of how many Macs they sell a year by being in this completely different price band, especially as everything else is getting a price hike. Everything in Windows laptop land is getting more expensive because of all the like RAM shortages and chip shortages and everything. So if a year or two from now, Apple is selling 100 million Macs a year, because they're in this price band where most laptops are sold. Most laptops are sold well under $1,000 in the world. That's going to really change how much emphasis the company puts on the Mac.
Sure.
And Mac OS and everything else. Like we may all be the beneficiary of the MacBook Neo, even if we don't want one, just because it's going to make Apple really focus on the Mac a lot more if it becomes this huge thing that they have 100 million customers a year.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the reasons the iPhone gets all this attention. It gets all this new tech all the time. It gets all this stuff is because they sell 250 million of them a year.
Yeah, sure.
They're not going to do that for something that's a tenth as much. So yeah, I'm excited. I would love to see it take off and do really well just because I want to see Apple go like, well, the Mac is going to be a big concern for us from here on out. Like it's going to be no more coasting on the Mac. Every year, something new and awesome. Right.
Yeah. And, it wasn't that long ago when Steve Jobs was declaring the post-PC era had started. The iPad is going to get rid of. He called PCs trucks and the iPad a sports car or whatever, because
right. Sometimes you need a truck, but most people don't need a truck.
And the idea was that he saw a future where people weren't using Macs unless you had real high end jobs or whatever, or a warehouse, whatever it was. They were just sitting in a room somewhere, and everyone else was going out with iPads, and that never really happened. A lot of people have iPads. Apple sells a ton of them, but they haven't replaced computers. And this is like, I think Apple sat down at some point over the last, 2 to 3 years and said, hey, there's a whole market of people out there that are buying crappy Windows PCs and want a laptop. They're not going to buy an iPad Air. They might use it, but they're not buying it to do the computing stuff. And we need to attack that market. And man, it's crazy. Like to see them next to, I went to, where was I? I was Costco. They have the Neo on display, and to see it next to like a Windows stuff, it's crazy. What you get for $600.
Yeah, the cheap Windows stuff.
Yeah.
What you get for $600 in the Windows land. The specs look better, but it
doesn't matter.
made it. It's never been more clear that the specs don't tell the whole story. That when you get next to those two computers and you feel like how cheap and like you pick up one of those.
Right. It's not even a choice.
$600 Windows laptops. It's like it's flexy and it's plasticky and it bends and
seeing the screens from a distance next to each other on display. Yeah, it's like it's so obvious. And I don't know the numbers, and I'm going to say something that might be wrong. But I feel like people switching from PC to Mac is more of a thing than people switching from Mac to PC. And I think that Windows is going to lose a lot of people that don't come back.
I more or less agree in the sense that I think when somebody who has a Mac, and it's usually a MacBook because people mostly buy laptops, and they get a Windows computer, they get a Windows desktop for gaming or something.
Right.
And it's like along with their Mac.
Right. That's a different market completely.
Right. They don't get rid of the Mac for a PC. They get a PC as well. Yeah. Or their work requires them to have a PC or something, a Windows PC or something. And they don't get rid of their Mac as well. I think that happens a lot more than, like you said, than the other way
completely,
around.
Like I hate this MacBook. I want a PC. Like I just don't think that happens.
Not a lot, no. Yeah. And it happens more the other way because people are like, well, I have an iPhone and AirPods and, all that stuff works with my Mac.
Right.
All my messages are there on this Mac. Maybe I'll get a Mac, So, yeah, I think that happens more often. I'm really excited. I wish we would know. It's going to be months and months before we know if this is like a huge sales success.
Unless they hit some milestone that they don't expect. And they'll issue like a press release and say like we sold, 10 million, whatever.
Already sold 10 million in 2 weeks or something like that.
There was this will show how old I am, I guess. I remember when Apple used to regularly do that. Like they would issue like we sold, I don't know, 250,000 iPods, or we sold 2 million pre-orders for the iPhone 6 or whatever it was. Like that was the thing they did a lot.
Its 50th million download.
The quarterly financial statements used to include
that too,
number sales of product categories, and that's all gone.
Right.
So it's tough to see, and it's going to be a while before we really know just how successful it is. But I think, like you said, I think it's going to be a hit because it's never been more clear just what the difference is.
Right.
That when you stop looking at spec sheets and you go see them in a store or something next to each other, and it's just like, oh, well, why is anybody going to buy this Lenovo or something? I don't care if it has 16 gigs of RAM. Look at it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And there'll be copycats. Like Lenovo will come out with a pink one or whatever, but it's just they're just not going to be able to do it the same way.
I also think it doesn't help that Windows has gotten worse. Like as somebody who uses Windows every day, Windows 11 has Windows in general, since they introduced Windows 11, has increasingly added more I don't want to call it spyware, but ways to other Microsoft features you can't turn off. They're pushing OneDrive on you. They're pushing all the Office, the free Office software on you. There's a million settings now you have to turn off in order for it to not scrape your personal information, like weather widgets, all this. There's just more. They're more and more trying to make Windows into a way to monetize users. And it's more and more frustrating, and it's getting slower instead of faster. It's just Windows is not in a good shape right now, so it's not helping.
Our buddies over at PC World wrote a story a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was last week. Amazon was selling a $600 or $700 laptop that had, quote, 1.1 terabytes of storage, but it was 128 gigs of SSD, and then a free Europe subscription to 1 terabyte of OneDrive, which is just so sneaky.
Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah. I mean, Apple only gives you 5 gigs
BS.
free, but at least they're honest about it.
Yeah, at least they don't call that the storage that the laptop has. So no.
So there's a lot of sneaky things that go on, particularly at the range of the Neo. Like the cheaper you go in Windows, the more stuff you get pre-installed, because that's how they make their money. There's going to be an antivirus. There's going to be an antivirus program installed, but that's going to pop up nagging things asking you to subscribe. It'll be
to
30 days for free, and then it'll stop.
A premium antivirus thing, and they're going to push a VPN on you as well, and then it's all this nonsense in every place, and that doesn't help at all.
Right. And
yes, you can remove all that if you know what you're doing. But how many people in the $600 laptop market know how to spend 30 minutes uninstalling all the crud?
And it's not even as easy.
We all have families. We know that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And like on a Mac, you just drag it to the trash can. That's not the case with Windows. You got to uninstall it. And there's all these has hooks and all this other stuff. And
yeah, and it's not. They're not doing that. I mean, Apple includes their Apple programs, but they're not all background resident things popping up garbage at you all the time and everything.
And they're good. So, like they're generally good, even if you don't use them. They're still good
generally
apps.
Good. Yeah. You're not going to delete messages, especially if you have an iPhone or photos. You're gonna open. You're gonna all my iPhone stuff is here,
right?
Just automatically. That's awesome.
As great as the Neo is, the one place where it can't keep up with the MacBook Pro is the SSD.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to ask that at some point. I had it written down.
The SSD in the M5 MacBook Pro, it basically doubled its speed over the M4 Max. And it's roughly 9 times faster than the Neo?
Yeah. 14 or 15 gigabytes a second, something crazy.
Yeah, it's an unfair comparison because they're two different computers, but it's just it just illustrates what the Pro is for.
We'll give a little tease to your article. So you used it for a week. Is that difference tangible for the stuff that you were doing?
For the stuff I was doing, it wasn't tangible.
Okay.
So I'm not doing a lot of disk-based tasks and things like that. So it wasn't tangible for me. But I can see if somebody who's, working in 4K video or, doing a lot of stuff like that.
Copying or uncompressing a large file.
Right.
Things like that.
Working in databases or something like that, where they want that SSD throughput. So
when I was at the event in New York, Apple, like all the people that I talked to, they consistently hammered home the point that they looked at the type of work people would do on this machine and spec'd it accordingly. So that's obviously a place where they're saving a little bit of money on the SSD because,
Yes.
they're like someone doing 4K or the things you were just describing, like they would go to an Air or they would go to a Pro, and you could get frustrated by Neo, but that's not for them.
I saw someone do some tests, and it's even the SSD on the Neo the storage performance is even slower than it was on the 16 Pro Max phone.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just that it's associated with the A18 Pro chip or something. They literally put in a slower drive to save money or like a slower storage. I've been using the Air. That's the other thing we've got to review out on there at the M5 MacBook Air. There's not a lot to say about that because it is exactly like the M4 MacBook Air, which is exactly like the M3 MacBook Air, which is exactly like last year they updated the Thunderbolt ports to like Thunderbolt 4 and they improved the camera to like the new desk view camera. That was last year. So this year there's nothing even there. It's literally just M4 to the M5. Just that you get the speed from going from M4 to M5. We reviewed the MacBook Pro with M5 last week, so you know what that is. Yep. They did double the storage performance again, though. It's not what the MacBook Pro is. It's about half of that, but it's double what the M4 MacBook Air was. So storage performance gets much better.
Jason, do you have any insight? Like, is it just a new part that they're using, like a new drive, or is it some like connector thing that's better?
It's probably both.
Okay.
It's probably one new flash storage chips that are faster, but also the interface is probably faster.
Okay.
They don't break it down in terms of, but
there's probably a tear down somewhere that could give insight, but I haven't read them.
Like you don't get to see it, and because they're like soldered in and they're not connected to like a plugged in interface and stuff anymore, like the way a Windows laptop is. But in the Windows PC desktop space, there's this transition they're going through now from the PCI Gen 4 to PCI Gen 5, like PCIe 5, I mean. And PCIe 5 is where you get the speeds that you see on the MacBook Pro, those 15 gigabytes a second speeds and stuff like that. So there may be that kind of thing, like it is under the hood and you don't get to see it at PCIe Gen 5, but it's also you require new flash storage chips to make that happen and all. Right. I went back and looked, and Apple's storage performance has been kind of flatlined since like M2 or something. For the last 4 years, it's been 4 years ago, you would look at their storage performance and say, man, Apple don't mess around. Their storage performance is great. And then it didn't change for 4 years, and now it kind of got behind the times. And now they doubled it, and they're back to just, holy crud, this is fast. They just all in once, they just caught way up and just doubled everything instead of getting like 10% faster every year.
Speaking of storage, they doubled the base storage that you get in all of these. So the MacBook Pro has now started 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes for the 16, and the MacBook Air starts at 512, which is, that's good. We've been criticizing that stuff for a while. They increased the prices a little bit, but it's better to get 512 for $100 more than 256 and have to pay $200.
Yeah, the pricing on the Air has been a yo-yo.
Yeah,
it's been
literally
like it was $9.99. They introduced one that was like $11.99, and then it immediately dropped to $10.99, and then it was $9.99 for the next year, and now it's back up to $10.99. So the entry level Air has been bouncing up and down. Yeah, it's currently $10.99. The version we reviewed that's with an 8-core GPU. The 10-core GPU version, the full M5 is what we reviewed, plus 1 terabyte. So that's a $12.99 setup. I still think this is the best computer Apple makes overall, like price, performance, capabilities. Like it's the sweet spot. I still think it's the best computer for most people. I also think that like a lot of people can't afford a $1,200 computer, and you could get 2 Neos for this. Like it's not lost on me that the Neo is going to be the entry level point for a lot of people who don't have. But I think this is the one in terms of like, you want to buy something that's going to last for years. It's going to run everything but gaming. It's going to do really, really well. unless you are editing HDR video and need an HDR display and all that, it's going to do great. All the things you do.
Does the existence of the Neo at $599 kind of change the position of the Air? So the Air was the entry-level Mac. Now it's the mid-level Mac. Does it kind of change your mind?
It's the same question you kind of asked Roman.
Right,
yeah, I mean,
right.
Obviously it does. Like everybody who was stretching to buy $1,000 Mac because that was the cheapest Mac you could get has a much better option now.
Yeah.
Like if it was a stretch for you to spend $1,000 on a computer, or if you were constantly trying to hunt down, where's there a sale on a refurbished, blah, blah, all these other things, you don't have to mess with that anymore. You can get a Neo and be happy.
Right.
It's definitely, that Neo is definitely a lot slower and has half the RAM and all that other stuff. So it's not going to have the longevity that the Air is going to have.
Right.
And it's just not as nice. And you always get Touch ID. You don't have to get the upgrade to Touch ID and all that other kind of stuff. So like, I still think the Air is the best computer for most people, but it's over $1,000. So
yeah, it's $500 more than the cheaper Neo, the cheapest Neo.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I feel the same way about the iPad. It's the iPad Air is really the best iPad for most people. But I totally understand that for a lot of people who just want a device to keep their kid happy in the back seat, and they don't want to spend as little as possible, and just get the entry level iPad. Like, who cares what it's missing? Just here you go.
I feel like the difference between the iPad and the iPad Air is not nearly as stark as the Air to the Neo. Like the iPad is still good.
The kind of software you run, it makes much less of a difference. Yeah. Whereas on a Mac, when you have a bunch of Windows going, you can download third-party software and background utilities and all this other kind of stuff. It makes more sense that you're going to notice it's got twice the RAM. It's way more powerful. It's got way faster storage and more storage and all that. You're going to care more.
Yeah. It's an interesting place that we're in now. Like, $600 is like a legitimate budget. Like, it's crazy that they're making a MacBook.
It's a real budget.
That's a real budget machine. Yeah.
We would always say that like the SE, the phone, wasn't really a budget phone because budget phones are $200. Right. Like in the Android world, budget phones are $199 and $299. Right. And now it's even worse because the E phones are cost even more than the SE did. So Apple doesn't really sell a budget phone. Right. The E phones are more affordable, but it's not a budget phone. They sell a budget Mac.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like absolutely. They sell a budget Mac. So yeah, it's pretty incredible.
All right. You could read all those reviews. We also have to talk at some point about the displays, but we're running out of time here. So we'll get to those at some point.
Yeah.
They're expensive. Okay. Probably not worth it, but you could read our reviews of all the new laptops on our site. Roman will put them down in the show notes. And Roman has been itching to talk about shrinking. So we're going to do a segment of what we're watching. Just real quick, at the Academy Awards were on Sunday. Apple won one sound editing or something award for F1. It obviously didn't win Best Picture. Like, I don't think anyone expected it to. But it got one award, which is good for Apple. And all right, Roman, tell us about your views on shrinking. I haven't watched the third season at all yet, but I do love the show.
I was itching to talk about it. Now I'm not so. I've kind of
missed your window.
Yeah, but I watched an episode last night, and I just like the direction what they've done with the show. They've the first couple seasons, the show focused mostly on Jason Segel. How do you say his last name? Segel. His character, and the focus is kind of shifted more now towards Harrison Ford's character a little bit more. They shifted it, and I kind of like how they did that because it broadens the show a little more. It makes the characters more dynamic. You're seeing more depth being brought to all the other characters as well. I just like the way the show's developed. Now, the thing that I've also noticed about the show is that it has become a little more, my wife put it Ted Lasso-ish in terms of like the dialogue.
Okay.
So like the quips have like
It's too quippy.
it's become a little more quippy than it has before, which is okay because the quips are actually quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they're not your run of the, you know, they're pretty clever, but kind of after a while you kind of go, okay, can you tone it down a little bit in terms of the quips?
Yeah. Nobody talks like this. Nobody is this clever
that's
all the
thing.
time.
Nobody talks like they do. And I understand that's kind of a thing that shows do now. Like my wife watches Palm Royale, and I was like, people don't talk like that like they do on Palm Royale, but that's kind of, it's a style thing. It's a style thing of a show. And like what Gilmore Girls was kind of notorious for that.
Yeah.
True.
And that's more of, that's more of a thing that they want to identify with the show. So I'm okay with that. But sometimes it does get a little like,
it is a little over the top. It's a little too polished in that way.
Especially when there are plot lines that I'm interested in. And, sometimes the quips, the quips do try to help move the plot lines along, but I am interested in the plot lines. So,
What did you think of the way they handled the Michael J. Fox appearance in this? Since you started season 3 here.
Wait, don't give me any spoilers. If it's a spoiler, talk around it because I haven't watched it yet. I do know he's
It's been weeks, Michael. You don't get the part.
I like the way they handled it. I wish there was more of it.
Yes. Okay.
Because he's good. He's really good. And he's really sincere.
If you're not caught up, he does show up in a couple later episodes of this season. So it's not just that first episode.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So he does show up later. But yeah, I do wish they had more of him. To your point, like how the show's evolved, like the first couple seasons were about, the overall theme was about overcoming grief and getting back into having a life, right? And then this new season is about how challenges, the overall theme for everybody's characters, like how challenges make you have to get out of your comfort zone and change.
Right.
That's what everybody's dealing with in one way or another, getting out of their comfort zone and changing and stuff. And so I do think, I'd like to see more of Michael J. Fox because, like you said, it's amazing how good he is. It's amazing how you see him on screen and he just he steals the scene still.
Everything he's ever done, he's just really good at acting.
But he's sitting there next to Harrison Ford of all things, and he's stealing the scene still. Yeah.
There's that famous thing where I think it was who was that? Eric Stoltz, I think, was the original Back to the Future guy, and it's impossible that anyone could have pulled it off like Michael J. Fox did. He's just really freaking good.
He's got a lot of charisma. Yeah,
I do want to see, like my parents watch Shrinking, and they've told me like numerous times, like, oh, you have to see how they handle Michael J. Fox, and like they're big fans. So I'm gonna watch it soon, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, it's also really cool that he's still working despite his it's clear struggles. Like he has it's heartbreaking what he's going through, but he's
the severe Parkinson's is part of the plot for him being there. So,
but he still could be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want people to see me like this. I don't want to.
Absolutely,
it's difficult. I'm sure on a daily basis, let alone in front of a camera.
Right.
Well, now that you brought it up, Jason. So the episode I saw last night,
spoilers, people.
Right. Well, I'm trying not to spoil it, but it had Michael J. Fox in it. But now I think I need to rewatch it because there's a certain aspect of his presence on the show that I need to see if it jives with my thinking.
Okay.
I'm trying not to spoil it.
Well, we'll talk about it after this show when Michael's not on, because I think I know what you're talking about. So we'll talk about that after.
So anyways, I'm really enjoying the show. I hope people watch it. I really sincerely hope Harrison Ford gets an Emmy for this season because I think he's really good.
In the first 2 seasons anyway, it seems to be like the first time he's really enjoyed acting in a long time.
Exactly. Yes.
It's amazing that like you can both say he's playing against type and also say, well, no, he's playing a grumpy man. Like, and it's like, which is what he always does.
Yeah.
Like, but yet not at all what he normally is. So
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I think it works.
It has been renewed for season 4. I wonder if there's going to be 7 seasons to kind of mirror the 7 stages of grief, because that's what the whole show is about. You know, like the big thing is
In
that
a way,
his wife
yeah.
died, her mom died. I wonder if there'll be 7 seasons, but it has been renewed for season 4. So Roman, if you want to send a message to Apple PR about the quips and tell them to tone it down, now's your chance.
Yes. Slightly less quippy.
Yeah.
All right. We got 8 minutes to an hour. Let's see if we can get this done. This week in Apple history is, I actually forgot. I didn't write it down. I have last Macworld.
The 20th anniversary Mac.
Yes.
Oh, right.
So on March 20th, 1997, Apple released the 20th anniversary Mac. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Apple's celebrating their 40th anniversary now, and it's 2026.
50th anniversary.
50th
Yeah.
anniversary, and it's 2026.
Right.
So wouldn't the 20th anniversary be 1996? So
And wouldn't it be 1994? Wasn't the Mac introduced in 1984?
Yeah.
How is this at all?
yes. So what I've read now, the funny thing is, Macworld, the March 1997 issue, which I'm holding up for the people on video, has a feature on it that this feature actually posted, I believe, the day of the announcement, or this issue came out around the same time that they made the announcement of the machine, I think, because it's written as a kind of like sneak preview.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there are like some vague.
This is
reference
back when
points,
Apple
like,
needed us. They don't need us anymore.
Yes.
Right.
Like that. Like the price wasn't set during that feature, and I'll post that feature on our show notes if you're interested in looking. I scanned it and put it up.
That's cool.
But doing the research on this, what people, and I don't know if this was an official Apple thing, but what people figured out was Apple became a corporation in 1997.
97?
So the 1977.
Yeah.
1997. So Apple was founded in
I see.
1976, but didn't officially become a corporation until 1977. So what I think happened was they were developing this Mac for 1976, and it got delayed.
96.
They were developing. I'm going to stop saying dates because I know I'm going to get this wrong. I got this wrong last episode.
We're going to do this every week so you constantly screw it up.
Yes. This is all me conjecturing, making stuff up now that I think Apple was working on this machine and it got delayed. And then they went, oh, you know what? We didn't become a corporation until 1997. So here's our way around that.
1977.
So
this is the 20th
stop
anniversary.
saying dates. I will stop saying dates because I get them all wrong. So I'm making that up, but I think that's kind of what was happening.
Yeah, it was Apple when it was incorporated. Yep.
Yeah.
That's also the April 1st date is when they were incorporated. Right. So that tracks that they're,
But that's 1996. April 1st, 1996.
Right. But I'm saying that's where they get the April 1st from. I think they were getting the 20 years after this. Who knows? You said, just when it became a corporation or something.
That was way before my time, but that machine is still super cool looking. Like even from where we are now with all the stuff we have.
It is such a wild thing because, all right, so this was, it has a big, slightly curved, flat, vertical front surface with a monitor up top and like a front loading flat CD-ROM in the front and tall speakers. And there's like a Bose subwoofer that comes with it. And it's got leather accents and it's dark gray. Like it is the most weird looking computer. It had a TV and FM tuner so you could watch TV, but like not while you did computer stuff, like separate. You could just, I want to watch TV on this thing. It was wildly expensive. Like it was announced to cost $9,000, which is almost $20,000. And then when it shipped, it was $7,500, which is still $15,000 in today's money.
And
There was so much money.
Didn't it like show up in like a limousine or something? Like someone like drove
That's what I'm
it
saying. Like when you ordered one, you got concierge delivery service where an Apple person would show up in a tux and white gloves in a limousine and deliver it and set it up for you or in your office or your home. Which that's how many they expected to sell. So few that like we're going to send them to your homes in a limousine and everything. And it also came out right when Steve Jobs came back, is when it was released. It only stuck around for a year and then they got rid of it, which is not that suspect because a lot of Apple products are like that. And it's a 20th anniversary model. Like it's not, they're not going to keep making them forever. But apparently Steve Jobs hated it.
Yeah. The price got cut
he hated it.
like by a ton before they got rid of it.
Oh, that's the other weird thing. The price got cut all the way down to like $3,000 or just something like that. And everybody who paid for full price for one got like a free iBook or something, as like compensation. It just it's the weirdest, wildest part of it's a kitchen sink computer that has everything in it, which no wonder Jobs hated it, but it was also just crazy expensive and they delivered it in a limousine and it had a TV tuner. What a wild computer. What a weird thing.
It was Steve Jobs, as Jason said, had nothing to do with it, but Johnny Ive did, very much so. And it's interesting to like from a historical standpoint. Johnny Ive is held up in this great, pantheon of Apple, but without Steve Jobs, like he needed that editing he needed Steve to kind of rein him in. He was brilliant. He's still, he's a brilliant designer, Johnny Ive. Yeah. But without, like, look what he's done post Apple. Like he needs someone to kind of rein him in. And
someone needs to tell him no.
Right. Think? Like what's that? 1,000 no's for every yes. I'm sure 800 of those were Johnny Ive ideas.
Yeah. I mean, we never know what Apple corporate was really demanding of this computer be either. This may be a toned down and restrained version of what they wanted, but it's just such a standout product in the Apple history because it's not like any of the others.
Right. It really
both
does.
Visually and just conceptually. This idea that we're just going to put everything in it.
I mean, it was so far ahead of its time. Like you could literally, like they could have released it now and it would still be kind of cool. Like it was wildly futuristic.
I also think it kind of looks ugly.
It's not
weird
pretty.
to have like things with like built-in speakers and it has this weird vertical face and stuff, but it's just nothing like any other Mac. It's so weird.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, like, Apple's 50th, like we'll write about these things as we get closer, but I'd love for Apple to like one day just change its website to show like some of these old products that people, Apple people have no idea exist.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's so many of these. I mean, this one stands alone. Roman, this is before you were covering this stuff, right? Actually, Jason too, I guess. Like you guys weren't around, like you didn't deal with this stuff back then, or did you?
I was in college.
You were.
I was at Mac User, which was Macworld's rival magazine at the time, and I vaguely remember we didn't get one because Macworld had the exclusive in the magazine. I've never used it. I've seen it. I mean, it looks like a Bang & Olufsen kind of product.
Very much
the speakers were Bang & Olufsen. Yeah. It looks like that kind. You've seen the Bang & Olufsen CD player, the
vertical CD player,
right? Yeah.
So it almost has a similar design to that. So, but yeah, I've never actually used it. And I've only seen it in at the Computer History Museum, so I've never seen it up close. So for Comment Corner, we have two comments. Jason posted a video showing about the new FaceTime camera in the new studio display, comparing it to the old one. Jaya on YouTube said it's criminal that they would put such garbage in the first one when they already had this technology readily available.
I mean, it kind of is.
That's why
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Subum M on Instagram said, interestingly, both are pretty disappointing. Quite surprising.
Compared to like an iPhone, sure. Yeah.
It
Is an improvement, right? Just, I mean, we'll get into the display more in depth, but
yeah, in that video, I had it fairly low light conditions.
Yep. And you said
it is a dramatic improvement, but that's as much because the old one was bad as it is the new one's good. The new one is a perfectly good, fine, serviceable webcam, but they do better these days. And what they should have put in it is the front-facing camera, the selfie camera from the new iPhone 17s, the square sensor one, because it would be so awesome to let you shoot vertical from your desktop monitor. I mean, that's a thing now. That's what people post vertical videos, like, you know. So yeah, that would have been the way to go. They didn't do that, but it's a massive improvement over the old one. But
it's
that's
crazy.
Going from terrible to okay, like good, B+ maybe.
Yeah, when I saw Jason's original comparison picture, it's just like I cannot believe Apple was charging $1,600 for this like 2 weeks ago. It's so bad.
Yes. Yeah. And granted, that's low light conditions. If you brighten it up a lot, it improves a lot, but still it was bad. And when it shipped, when the original
it was even worse.
Shipped, there was a software problem. It was even worse. And they shipped a software update in a hurry to make it better. And it made it better, but it was still not great.
And we got one comment on Facebook from Thomas S about the SSD speed improvement in the M5 Max MacBook Pro. Thomas said, "Who needs this? No one."
I mean, I guess, but you're not paying any more for it.
Right. I thought it was a curious comment that he made.
Does that apply to like, does that ideal apply to everything? Because there's plenty of stuff. Like, how old a computer is he using? Because at some point, at every point, something was faster than you needed, and then the years went on, and it became too slow. So no, it's just good. It's more speed is better, and it future proofs your computer.
I mean, I think on the timeline of useful upgrades, SSD speed is pretty close to important.
Man, storage performance is always huge. That's one of the two things you literally wait for on your computer. like you watch a progress bar go is something storage limited and something internet limited. Those are your speeds that need to get like 100 times faster. Everything else kind of happens immediately. Unless you're rendering out a big long video, you're either waiting on storage speed or you're waiting on internet speed. And so, more storage speed. Let's go.
Yeah. So to answer the question, everybody needs this. I mean, I would.
Yeah. Who needs this? Everybody. I want it.
Of all the things in the world to complain about, this isn't one of them.
And Apple isn't charging a premium. I mean,
it's the same price.
It's the same price. It has it. Or I guess the better way to phrase it is the faster SSD did not affect the price of the MacBook Pro at all.
Right.
Because you could say it is more expensive. Well, because the Pro is more expensive than the Air and than the Neo in terms of the whole unit. So,
but it's the same as it was with the slower SSD. So,
right. So.
All right. Is that it?
That does it for Comment Corner.
And that does it for this episode of the Macworld Podcast, episode number 975. I wrote the number down correctly. I actually just edited it while you were talking. I had it wrong. Thanks to Jason Cross.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on. I wrote it down. Rugen Latula. If you listen to the whole show, that's a callback. And thanks to you, the audience, for tuning in. You can subscribe to the Macworld Podcast in the podcast app, on Spotify, on YouTube, at the Macworld Podcast channel, or through any other podcast app. Comments or questions, contact us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Thread, search for Macworld, look for the blue mouse logo. Send us an email at podcast@macworld.com. Comment under a post, comment under a video. Just get us a comment, and we will talk about it on a future show. Join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast as we talk about the latest in the world of Apple. See you next time. I'm getting closer.
So
Yeah.
close.
So close. I thought I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, is he going to do it? Because the rest of the ending, you were just like
As soon
plowing
as I
through,
get
and
to
I'm
that
like,
last
oh man,
line,
is he
my
going to
mind
get
goes
it?
blank.